city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions. Biblical. What he means is Old Testament. They are real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling. 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. That's hysteria.
Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. I want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. It is a New Year's Eve. It is New Year's Eve, well, it's New Year's Eve morning. And of course, here we are, as we normally would be. You know, a lot of people are on vacation, not doing anything. Hold on, let me see here. Is the microphone? Yes, it's picking me up. Okay, it's fine. It just seems like it's all back there behind my head. But yes, we are here once again, broadcasting live. And hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas holiday and a happy Hanukkah as well. I think Kwanzaa is starting off, Rama, Hama, Wana, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I just hope that you had a wonderful holiday and that everything went your way. And of course, the real question is did Santa bring you what you actually wanted or what you wished for? I mean, because Santa got me what I wanted and what I needed. Of course, you can notice right out of the gate, I have a nice new hat on. Here it is, an official Dick Tracy hat, just like the one that I used to wear with the yellow, or should we say gold, the gold hat. You know, you can't say yellow, because, if you think about sports teams for a minute, just think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They always call it the black and gold. You know the reason why they do that? Well, they do that because if you're a sports team, the last thing you want to be referred to in sports is yellow. That means chicken. So I used to have a gold hat, a gold Dick Tracy hat. People want to say that it's yellow, but it is gold. But now I have a black one. The black one being from The Blank. You're familiar with Dick Tracy, right? Yeah, it's Chester Gould, the original comic. Well, it's old school. And if you're not familiar with it, there was a 1990 movie starring Warren Beatty as well. And Madonna. Yes, Madonna as well. And Madonna was The Blank. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, so QQ, I don't want to hear anything about it. Another thing that I did receive, as you can see, and now I do have the Sam cams up and running. So I have the Sam cam over here on YouTube. And let's see here. Hold on. I have the Sam cam over here on YouTube. And I have the Sam cam over here on Instagram. So at Sam Newsman on Instagram and at Sam Newsman over here on YouTube. So shout out to everybody here this morning. Duchess of Darkness, Roundhead K2000, TNT Nate, who will be giving us a call a little bit later in the show. MC DJ ACDC, Cato's Collection, here as well over here on YouTube. Interactive show, if you're not familiar with that. Interactive show where we are doing things live. Oh, Artist Trey Matic as well. Does anybody follow Artist Trey Matic? I know we'll get into some things here in just a moment, but if you followed Artist Trey Matic, the other day, talk about somebody who is at the right place at the right time. So if you're not following Artist Trey Matic, and that's ARTS, I can't even see it. Hold on a minute. Let's see here. ARTISTIK _ Trey Matic. Just go to my Instagram. You'll be able to see him on my friends list. It's hard for me to sit there and see everything over there down there. But anyways, so the thing about it is that Artist Trey Matic, he goes around and he keeps Hot Wheels in his pocket. Yes, Hot Wheels in his pocket. And just the other day, he had a Bowser. You familiar with Bowser? Bowser from the Super Mario Brothers. He had a Bowser car in his pocket. And he just so happened to walk by a banana peel. Now, you're familiar with Mario Kart. You'll understand that the banana peels are just all over the place. They're all over the road. And of course, they get on my nerves. Whenever I was playing Mario Kart, always seemed to be a banana in the middle of the track at the right time, or should I say the wrong time. But Artist Trey Matic was walking around with his Bowser Hot Wheel car, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was a banana peel. And artist Trey Maddock, being the amazing toy photographer that he is, was able to pull out his Bowser Hot Wheel and set it next to the banana. Probably one of my favorite pictures that he's done all year. And just like I said, it just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Or if you're actually playing the game, the wrong place at the wrong time, because you don't want to be slipping on a banana peel. So shout out to artist Trey Maddock, uh, who had a wonderful picture the other day. Like I said, right place, right time, with a banana peel and Bowser's Hot Wheel. That's artist Trey Maddock. A couple other people here. Hold on, what does that say? Divido Divalad. Well, I think that's what it is. So I see that just popped up here as well. Animal Mother Customs. If you're not following Animal Mother Customs 80, should follow him too. And of course, you can always reach out to him and for a commission for custom toys. Well, the toy community, the foundation of the toy community these days is based off of the people who are making customs and doing real artwork. No, it's not about the corporations and all the toys that you might buy in the toy aisle, which is actually just stealing from little kids. You should just be buying them online. You heard it here. You should be buying them online. You shouldn't be buying toys at a toy aisle. It is 2022. And of course, if you're buying toys in a toy aisle, what's that? Well, you know what that's doing? Well, it's taking the opportunity away for a kid to actually pick up a toy. Because here you are, a grown ass man, picking up a toy in the toy aisle and taking away the opportunity for a child to have his imagination flourish if they were to buy an action figure. Yes, I know. You want to sit there and get mad and upset about that, but that's the truth. You're stealing away the imaginations of children when you know it's 2022 and all you need to do is just go online and buy the toy online. Don't need to be going around to toy aisles, seeing 40-year-old men in toy aisles. Ridiculous. Shout out to some other people, of course. Scott Garnett, Delmas in the chat over here. Once again, we are broadcasting live on Instagram and over here on YouTube. A lot of times people say the YouTube feed is a little bit stronger than the Instagram feed, but we got both of them up and running. And another thing, of course, that Santa brought me. Now, it was like I said, I was asking everybody out there if Santa brought them anything good. But Santa, he brought me this hat, and he also brought me these amazing shoes. Yes, new Jordans, if you will. I was wearing Jordans already, Jordan 11s, the only ones that really matter, too. I mean, all the other Jordans, yes, you can say, oh, I like these Jordans, I like this, but the 11s are the best. And if you want to try to sit there and argue with me, you can. 804-289-UR90. 804-289-8790. Also, like I said, you'd be a part of the show. Shout out to Big M, just coming up here on YouTube as well. So, like I said, it's been an interesting week. Been an interesting year. I think that I do have the news over here. Hang on. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see here. Yes. Year in review. Year in review. Youngkin takes charge. Saga at Dogwood Dell and tragic losses. Of course, this is from the Richmond Times-Dispatch here this morning. Now, like I always do, I always pick up the newspaper. I always pick up the newspaper every Saturday morning. But in terms of year in review, I can sit there and I can talk about a whole bunch of news and things that have happened. But this is being a radio show dedicated to cartoons and Saturday morning. One of the things that we wanted to talk about this morning were toys. Toys and the toys of 2022. Now, there's been a lot of toys that have come out, some really good ones, some really great toys. And I do have a top 10 list. Now, I do have a top 10 list of the top 10 toys of 2022. Now, the interesting thing is that I see a lot of people online, a lot of toy reviewers and toy collectors and blah, 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 blah. They all have a top 10 list. Hell, I even saw somebody with a top 20 list, which is way too much. Way too much. And you know what? Usually I just do a top 5 list because everybody does a top 10 list. And the reason why they do a top 10 list is because they want to be able to mention certain particular toys. And that's certain toys that they don't want to leave out of their own list. Because I just love this toy, and I love that toy, and I love all these other toys. So it gets ridiculous. And the reason why it gets ridiculous is because the reality is they're all just a bunch of toy sims. Yeah, you're just slogging along and going along with all of the traditional corporations and buying toys, like I said, in the toy aisle. And the thing that we want to do is separate us from every other toy list that is out there. Number one, like I said, I usually just do a top five. But being that it is 2022 and a lot of toys did come out, we're here to set the standard and raise the bar. Well, that's what we do. Well, that's what I do. That's what I do as I come in every Saturday morning as a real media puppet. Well, you're saying, well, what do you mean a real media puppet? Well, I'm a real media puppet. And one of the ways that you can actually see me, like I said, at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman over here on YouTube. But the way to really hear and experience the show is to also download the Simple Radio app. Download the Simple Radio app on your iPhone, your smartphone, whatever it is. Search WDCE and then click on that. And then you can listen to the show live as we are broadcasting. And the reason why is because I will be cutting to cartoon themes here in just a few moments. But one of the things that I did want you all to know is that this is a radio show first. Radio show first. Thank you, White Vegeta. White Vegeta says that he's liking the new hat. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Yes, and but like I said, if you want to listen to the show, download the Simple Radio app, search WDCE, and you can listen to the radio show live, and you can hear the cartoon themes that I will be playing throughout the show. Now, I say throughout the show because I'll only be playing just a few of them. I'm not going to be as many as we normally do, and the reason being is because what I want to do is I want to hear from all of you. I want to hear from all of you because it is New Year's Eve, and like I said, everybody has had a list of toys. And so I want you to be able to call the show and tell us what your top toy, or maybe one or two top toys of 2022 is. Now you do that 804 289 UR90, 804 289 8790 to call in. I'm going to ask you real quickly what your favorite toy or two is of the year. But I wanted to also let you know why my list is different. Like I was just saying, that my list is different than everyone else's. And the reason being is because I have standards, yes, journalistic and media standards, that it seems that a lot of other toy collectors do not have. What do you mean by that? What makes your list better than everyone else's, Sam? That's what you're thinking. Well, that's a good question to have in your own head, but have no fear. My amazingness is here. And I'll tell you the reason why is because I have 10 figures here on my list. I have 10 figures here on my list. And out of those 10 figures, each figure comes from a different manufacturer or a different production studio. You say, what does that mean, Sam? That means that if there is one figure on the list that is from Hasbro, then that's the only figure that's from Hasbro. If there's one figure from Mattel, that's the only figure from Mattel. But here's the real kicker. I don't have any figures from Hasbro or Mattel in my top 10. You're probably thinking, oh, well, oh my gosh, what do you mean? You have no one, you have none. Well, I do not have any figures from Mattel or Hasbro in my top 10. Now, I do see we do have the phone already live, and let's see here. If I can grab the phone here, let's see, get the phone up and running. But let's see here. So the phone lines, blah, blah, blah. So once again, 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Oh, somebody was just calling in, and I wasn't able to get the phone fast enough. See, this is what you're doing when I'm sitting there trying to do a monologue talking about the top toys of 2022. So whoever was just calling in just a few moments ago, call back. Call back right now, 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Want everyone to be a part of the show, to tell us what your favorite toys of 2022 are. Like I was saying, of course, being the most trusted puppet in media, a broadcast professional, someone who has a real list of toys here, none of my toys on this list come from Hasbro or Mattel. Another company that's not represented on this list is NECA. NECA's not here on the list either. But I'm sure that all of you out there probably have a Mattel figure on your list or a Hasbro figure on your list, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm not knocking you for doing that. I'm just telling you the difference between my journalistic standards and having a toy list and everyone else out there. So who someone was just calling in. So whoever's out there and you can hear my voice, call back in. I knew to have the phone lines. The phone lines weren't up and running just yet, but I do have them up and running now. So I want to patch you in here to the show and you can tell us what your favorite figure is here in 2022. So, of course, we're going to go over to the phone lines right now. We do have a caller just calling in. Caller, state your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, favorite Russian collector here to talk about Christmas.
Oh, the Russian collector. You guys celebrate Christmas over in Russia?
It's always Christmas.
Oh,
Every day
every day. And that's because of the vodka, right?
it's vodka and snow and generally happy people. We don't smile a lot because smile is weird to show people like man, but very happy people.
Wait a minute. You don't smile because of the teeth. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that it was over in Europe that they had bad teeth. Do they have bad teeth over in Russia?
It's not a bad thing. It just makes you look like growl.
Oh,
Smile too much is weird.
oh, okay. I understand. I get that. I get that. Well, Russian collector, did you have you had a wonderful Christmas. You said it's Christmas every day. So of course,
Got favorite hero toy.
your favorite hero toys. So favorite hero toys, of course. What is your favorite hero toys of 2022?
I got my favorite hero toy of all time. A hero who fights battle against oppression, leadership. So this big mean guy come in, try to make slaves out of everybody. In one hero right to top to stop them all.
And who is that?
Megatron.
Megatron. So Megatron, of course, being your favorite. Well, because he's stopping the oppression, like you said. He is.
Correct. See, what people don't know, Megatron is good guy. He's understood he's good guy.
Megatron is a good guy. He is a good guy. He's looking out for everyone. And I've said that before.
Optimus Prime and Autobots make slaves of Decepticons and Megatron rise to the top in gladiatorial event. She's like Maximum Aurelius.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You know what? I couldn't have said it better myself. I always sit there and look at the Autobots as the oppressors too. And so, I agree completely. And I think that it's really interesting that you would bring up somebody like Megatron being your favorite toy of 2022. Is there a particular Megatron figure? I do know that there's a lot of Transformer figures that do come out. Is there a specific Megatron figure in the list, or is it just Megatron in general?
Megatron in general, but it's the one that turned into gun because, tanks, no tanks.
No tanks, no tanks. Yes, we want to have Megatron turn into a gun. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not ever. I'm not really sure why that they had him one time turn into a tank or this or that. Seemed always really bizarre because the original toy, harkening back to the Generation One Megatron, was a gun. It was a pistol, and
Right.
and so whenever I see Megatron turning into something other than a gun, I always scratch my little puppet head here, wondering what's going on because I think that even in the cartoon, he turned into a gun as well. Am I correct?
You are correct. And other great hero I got was uh, another misunderstood hero. We celebrate all great heroes here in Russia, and greatest hero in all time, Cobra Commander, leading this heroic team of Cobra against the the capitalist GI Joes. Great hero, Cobra Commander.
Well, it's interesting that you do celebrate how much of a hero Cobra Commander is. Cobra Commander being the president of Toy Town. Yes, a couple of years ago, he did beat Trump E. Bear for the election here in Toy Town, where I normally reside, and it was an incredible stolen. I mean, a hard-won victory when Cobra.
Completely fair.
Yes, completely fair with the Toy Town, and
I had nothing to do with the win.
No, absolutely nothing to do with the win. It was all above board. And Cobra Commander making, wearing a mask himself, was just looking out for all of the other toys in Toy Town. Him and all of the Cobra troopers doing what they needed to do, showing how to lead by example, wearing their mask. As they would patrol the streets of Toy Town and shutting all the other toys inside of their houses and homes. That was a key thing. And that was a key to Cobra Commander's victory back in 2020. And like I said, just doing his duty and service by showing all other toys exactly how to operate. And that is by wearing a gorgeous, wonderful mask over his face, him and all
By
of.
the way, speaking of election for Cobra Commander, if you could mail those machines back to me, it would be great. I need to use them in 2024.
Oh yes, the machines. That's the voting machines. The voting machines that were used at the Toy Town election. Yes, absolutely.
But you need those for 2024. Please mail those back to me.
Yeah, well, because there's a software update that needs to be done, right?
Great.
Oh, okay, yes.
General update, no big deal. Nothing to be concerned about. Everything perfectly normal.
Yeah, okay. Well, and we wouldn't expect anything less. And of course, we want to thank you for giving us a call here into the show. I was surprised that you did say Megatron and also Cobra Commander. You know what? I shouldn't be surprised because it's they are doing their service by stopping the oppression caused by the Autobots and also the capitalist GI Joes. So, I want to thank you for calling in. And any new potato figures coming out in 2023 that you're looking for? Vodka figures,
I will
anything?
let you know. I pre-ordered mini potatoes.
Oh, okay. Well, of course. Well, they're the best. The vodka and the potatoes being the best over in Russia. But the Russian collector, everyone, want to thank you again for calling. I hope you.
New Year, everybody. See you next year.
Yes, Happy New Year to the Russian collector. Absolutely, Happy New Year to the Russian collector. I often say this. I often say this that the bad guys are always misunderstood. It's propaganda at its finest. It is propaganda at its finest when they always say that the good guys and the good guys and the good guys, blah 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 blah. But I do want everyone to know that it's not just. It's not always as it seems. It's not always as it seems, and a lot of times you need to have somebody calling in from across the pond to, to really, bring things home. Let people know exactly what's going on. So I want to thank the Russian collector for calling in and talking about that. So the phone lines, of course, still open 804 289 UR90, 804 289 8790. And want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. See, Toy Cartel. Toy Cartel, I do believe that we will have a guest, the guest that you're referring to, which is I think it was known as on a lot of other channels as the disgruntled employee, right? The disgruntled employee. You see, now that's propaganda as well. No such thing as a disgruntled employee. And it wasn't an inside job either. It wasn't an inside job either, but I believe that will be around 11:10. 11:10, I believe, is when the supposed disgruntled employee will be calling in. So if the disgruntled employee is out there, probably listening to the show, let them know that at 11:10, 11:10 here. But yes. So, and if, like I said, if you are watching on YouTube, I have the YouTube feed right over here. I have the YouTube feed right here. You might not be able to hear the phone calls, but if you are, you can listen to the radio show. Download the Simple Radio app. Search WDCE, and you can hear the radio feed. And the radio feed is the best way to hear the phone calls. So if you can't hear the phone calls too well over here on Instagram and over here on YouTube, like I said, you want to download the Simple Radio app so you can hear it in all of its clear, wonderful, glorious audio. Audio timbre, maybe. I don't know. So 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Been waiting. One of the things that I've not heard from Deep Cut Dave. Well, I got an email the other day from Deep Cut Dave, and he sent me a list a couple of weeks ago. He did send me a list a week ago. No, you can't. Can the replay be caught on the app? No, no, no. The replay cannot be caught on the app. But I do plan on releasing the audio from today's show later this afternoon. So if you're not able to listen to the show live, I'll be able to post it a little bit later. That'll be on at samnewsman. No, not at samnews. At www.samnewsman.com. www.samnewsman.com. And you'll be able to hear the audio of the whole show at that time. Might be able to chop it up too and just have segments a little bit later on. But shout out, of course, to everyone on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman over here, YouTube, WDCE 90.1 FM. Once again, 804-289-UR90, 804-289-8790. Hail Lord Blanket, says MC DJ ACDC. Lord Blanket being over there. You know, Lord Blanket always has the spot at the top of the hour. You know, they pay for that spot. You know that? That's advertising at its best. Now, I don't have any control over the advertising. All I know is that they pay for that spot at the top of the hour. So by golly, they're going to just keep taking that spot at the top of the hour. What was that about? No, well, what do you mean, Lord Blanket has he been defeated? Well, yes, Santa Claus came, and there was no battle for Toy Town during Christmas like it has been over the last couple of years. Yes, things are peaceful still in Toy Town. Well, like I said, it's because of the commander. No, none of the toys are still wearing masks. No, the toys, the mask, the whole Cobra mask thing was taken down a couple of months back, maybe about a year or so ago. Well, there was always a lot of toys that kind of bucked the system too. They said, "Well, I'm not wearing a mask around here in Toy Town." Well, I mean, that's their prerogative. It goes back to what I always say. The reason why you want to wear a coat during the winter is so you can keep your neighbor warm, right? Because that's trusting the science. Far be it from you to not be wearing your coat when it's cold outside. Because if you don't wear your coat outside in the cold, then your neighbor's going to freeze, and that's just the truth. That's science. So 804-289-UR90. Is Dave going to call in? I don't know. Dave's been working lately too. But he did send me a list. He did send me a list of some cartoons, and I wanted to see if he'd be able to go over at least one of them here this morning. A special one that I have pulled aside. Now, I do have a couple of other songs here too, but there was one in particular. Oh, look, here we go. Here's the phone line. Let's see here. Maybe this will be Dave. Caller, you are here on WDCE 90.1 FM. Is this Dave?
Yes, it is.
Dave, how was your Christmas, my friend?
I had to work.
Oh, wait a minute. You had to work. Well, that means is that time and a half or double pay?
Oh man, I wish.
You wish? What do they do? Just bring you a pizza? You know what I heard the other day? I heard that Chick-fil-A, instead of giving their employees bonuses, they just gave them food, and then ended up being a lawsuit about it. So Chick-fil-A said, "Oh well, thanks for working. Here's some extra waffle fries. Here's some extra waffle fries for you. So hopefully."
Yeah, I can't pay the mortgage for waffle fries, man.
Right. So hopefully you didn't just get waffle fries while you were working on Christmas. But, Santa Claus did come to town. And so I'm sure that you might have gotten a few things. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you is what is your favorite toy that you got this year? This year. If you had to pick one, what was your favorite toy?
Well, gonna go kind of mainstream on this one. I'd say my favorite was probably Faker from Masters of the Universe Origins.
Oh, okay. Yes, the Faker figure from Masters of the Universe. Is there a reason why that particular figure sticks out in your mind?
Well, I like.
Well, the price was good.
The posability, the accessories. I mean, it really captures
Like the essence of the character, but with modern sensibilities.
Did you ever have the original toy when you were growing up?
I did, yes.
And so, compared to the original toy, you think this one is just done just as well?
Well, more articulation for sure.
Right. Well, and so, do you have any of the other Masters of the Universe origin figures?
A few.
Few, but this one is the one that sticks out for you the most.
Well, for this year, yes.
Gotcha. Well, usually, Dave, you do send me a list. You send me a list of cartoon themes. Now, I don't have a whole bunch of them that you sent me, but I do have one in particular that I did want you to talk about. And of course, me being a puppet, it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about for this last show of 2022 of the wonderful and amazing and perhaps probably one of my favorites. It is one of my favorites cartoons, and that is the Sectars. The
Ah, yeah.
The Sectars from 1985. And I want you to go ahead and just start talking for a few moments about the Sectars.
Well, the Sectars, man, that was an odd show.
Now they only did about 5 episodes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Only five by Ruby Spears.
Ruby Spears being dot dot dot.
The animation, Joe Ruby and Ken Spears.
Right. Who also did?
Oh, they did Thundar the Barbarian.
Okay. And so now there was Sectars the cartoon. They did only 5 episodes. And if I'm not mistaken, our friend Arthur Burghardt was the voice of Spydrax.
Yes. I mean, just
Looking at the cast list, I mean, you got Peter Cullen,
Ron.
Frank Welker. I mean, who's who of 80s voice actors? I mean,
It was quite a cast.
Susan Blue, and you'd have a Transformers reunion.
Yeah, it was quite the cast. And one of the interesting things about that cast is that they were promised to be doing more episodes. And when I was talking to Arthur at Retro Toy Con, which we were there, and Arthur was there, he mentioned that it was one of those situations where they just kind of pulled the rug out from under them. They weren't really expecting it to be canceled because they had such a wonderful time doing it, doing the voice acting. Like you said, it was a big reunion for all of them, and as they were doing the voiceover work in the studio. But very, very upsetting that they just decided to cancel it. And from my understanding, from what I was talking to Arthur, he said that it was done because of some kind of dispute for the higher ups. Do you have any intel or detail on any of that?
well, I mean, nothing definitive. I mean, I heard one version that I heard was what was the company? Coleco.
Right, Kalika. Yes.
The company and Ruby Spears got into a dispute. It's like, oh, you want to charge more? And Ruby Spears said no. So I'm like, okay, well, let the show.
Yeah, and so the actual figures were done by Coleco being popular for the Coleco Vision. Did you ever have a Coleco Vision?
No, actually, I'm not.
So okay, well, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't as popular as Nintendo or anything like that. But yeah, Coleco Vision, and they also made the Sectar action figures. But one of the interesting thing about these Sectar action figures is that they were puppets. They were puppets. And can you talk a little bit about the puppet aspect of the action figures?
Well, that was probably one of the more original ideas for 80s toys at the time. You bought the figure, which was, I remember being pretty big. I want to say like 6 inches.
Yes, they were quite large. Well, I want to say 7 actually, 7 inches.
Well, yes, and most of the figures came with a full hand puppet.
And that would be a puppet that you would then place the figure on. You would slide your hand into the puppet, and you'd be able to fly the puppet around like in the actual show when they would be flying on their mounts. And you basically an interactive type of deal, correct?
Very much so, yes.
Now, did you have any of these Sectar figures?
I remember I had
One, he was like the veteran guy. I remember he had a big mustache.
That was Mantor. Mantor, and that was who Peter Cullen voiced in the show. Just yes. Well, I know so. Because Sectars is one of my favorites. Now, another thing that they also had was this huge playset known as the Hive.
Yeah, I never had that.
Yeah, but I have seen it.
Yeah, the Hive is an incredible piece. There is one, of course, in Toy Town. Well, of course, why wouldn't there be? But the puppeteer, a gentleman by the name of Tim Clark. Is that correct? Tim Clark? Tim Clark being the puppeteer who did the puppets for Sectars, also did the puppets for the Boglins. Did you know that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I did know that. Yeah, Sector, it was developed by Lawrence Mass, Tim Clark, and Maureen Trutla.
Yeah, and so and it's interesting because now, as of this past year, there has been a new company, Nacelle. Nacelle has now gotten the rights for the Sectars line, and they have 2 of them on pre-order now. I think they're going to be having another 2 coming out pretty soon for pre-order. Kind of expensive at about $40 a figure, but they will be coming out in 2023. The new Sectar figures.
Brought him back for a little bit.
Oh, you know, the Zika. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the Zika line. The Zika line was absolutely incredible. And the reason why I say that is because if you do have the original puppets, the original hand puppets that you mentioned earlier, you have the hive, and you use the Zika figures scale amazingly with those hand puppets. In fact, those hand puppets are pretty massive when you throw one of those little Zika figures on them, but it reminds me of exactly how the show looked. And then when you see the hive being, this massive towering mountain, that when you have those little Zika figures next to it, it looks like an actual mountain, like you would see in the show too. So and of course they did have the one Kickstarter with Zika, and they had a second one which failed, which really upset me. I was very distraught and hurt my feelings for a while. But they did have one. And did you ever pick up any of those Zika figures?
Yes, actually I have.
That's great. Well, they're fantastic. They're one of my favorites from a few years ago. Just like Sectars is one of my favorites, probably in my top 5. My top five toy lines of all times. And of course, why wouldn't it be? Because here I am, an actual puppet, and of course, a line that is based in puppets should be in my top 5. So there is that. Well, Dave, listen, I want to thank you for calling into the show. I'm going to be playing Sectars here in just a few moments. And are you working next week?
I don't think so, but who knows?
Who knows? Yes, you could, of course, always be called in so they can not pay you overtime and just give you pizza or maybe waffle fries. So, well, hopefully that won't be the case. But if you are able to call into the show, we look forward to hearing you next week, giving us another deep dive into a cartoon and action figure line that our audience may not necessarily know about.
Okay, we'll do that. Believe me, I got plenty of stuff for 2023. Don't worry about that.
Awesome, Dave. Well, you take care and you have a happy new year. Be safe out there, okay?
Thanks, man. You too.
All right, take care. Everyone, that is Deep Cut Dave. Deep Cut Dave calling in. And he's been busy. He's definitely been busy. And we've been busy. Listen, we need to sit there and play some cartoon themes. Here it is. It's 9:55 here on the 31st day of the year 2022, New Year's Eve. And of course, we have a few cartoon themes here that we're going to play for you right now. And we'll be back at the top of next hour. We'll be back at the top of next hour. And I'll give you my number 10 through number 6 favorite action figures of 2022. Once again, each one being from a separate manufacturer, production company, production studio, however you want to put it. And I think we might have gotten the point to where you can now hear the phone calls on Instagram and YouTube. So I think we got that situated. It was after the Russian collector call, but I know that's I now figure out these things after I'm able to kind of get it's almost a new year. We're still trying to play around with the system here. I know you guys in the back really don't know what you're doing. You have to sit there and rely on me. And of course, you have to rely on me because here I am, the only real media puppet doing this on Saturday morning. So, and what are we doing on Saturday morning? Well, we are about to play some cartoon themes. Take you back to the old school because I'm an old fool who's so cool. Anyways, once again, at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Twitter, and over here on YouTube as well to see me. Download the Simple Radio app. Search WDCE 90.1 FM on the Simple Radio app so you can listen to the show live. I think we might have the problem situated to where now we might be able to start hearing callers here on Instagram and YouTube a little bit clearer than we did before. Well, it's a work in progress. Setting the standard, raising the bar. what we have to do. Well, that's what I have to do. Like I said, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing back behind the glass. But we'll be back in a moment here for the only radio show dedicated to the magic of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real puppet. From the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning.
Out of the sky, his rockets ignite. Gets into battle like faster than light. Load of the Dango, the hero who stalks.